Jal Anil Balla sir and Jan Chandele sir, thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Jayan, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished and very senior officers, and I found some officers from friendly foreign countries also. Jayan to all of you. The digital battle space, as we have lately seen, is dense. There are a tremendous number of users out there and a large different variety of them. What I will be speaking about is from the soldier's point of view. You know, there is a huge number of users in this digital battlefield that we are talking about. I will speak from my own point of view, that is the soldier's point of view. First, I'll just cover the digital battle space as I see it. What is my surveillance need? How do I absorb the tremendous onslaught of technology, which a lot of speakers have spoken that technology is unstoppable. Therefore, I must absorb it very efficiently and be on top of the events. And lastly, just a few points which we may consider, not only as the military community in uniform, but more importantly the industry, which can help us to absorb this technology in the least amount of time and most efficiently. So I go on to the digital battle space. There are, as we all know, a plethora of users of this digital battle space. I have divided them into two kinds. One whose primary role is communication. So they are using our digital battle space. And those whose primary role is not communication, but it may be something else. It may be to fight or it may be to operate. Like a UAV, its primary role may not be communication. So both these kind of entities are working in this digital battle space and they are affecting each other. So how does it affect me in the front line? Before I really get into this, I will just throw a word of, let's say, realism today. This digital battle space, with a lot of technology, etc., is coming into the Indian context, but it has not yet come. It is not yet there. In our today's battle space, and in the near future at least, battle space is still very much traditional, where you need the traditional skills of a soldier to be able to win situations. It is not yet there. So therefore, it gives me two deductions. The first is that the soldier very much needs to be a ground soldier the way we wanted in a traditional battle situation. The second is that since this technology is going to come, it is not yet there, so it gives me an opportunity. It gives all of us an opportunity to design it before it comes. It is not necessary, therefore, to adopt the model which is working the world over. I must adapt, I must design this model the way I want it for my soldier in my battle space. Two deductions that emerge out of it, of this yet to arrive digital technology. For this, the implications for the frontline surveillance of these so many entities which are likely to be working there is that I will have a huge amount of information overload, and I also may have a little bit of bewilderment, These are the users who are there. human. There are people who are there in the battlefield. When a bullet is fired, it might affect me. When it rains, it will affect the user or the frontline battlefield. It will affect. But in that battle space, there are huge amount of users who are actually not present in the battlefield. They may be thousands of kilometers away who are not affected by the bullet, who are not affected by the shelling. But they are very much influencing my battle space. So these are two different kinds of human users of the same battle space. Now, as far as I am concerned in the battlefield, I've got two types of requirements. One is to maintain a surveillance over whatever is my objective or object. That's a direct kind of a requirement. The other is information for which I don't have to do any direct surveillance, but that information can be channelized to me on whatever instrument or whatever user interface I have from anywhere across the globe. I can get the information which we've been talking about. So these are two different kinds of needs of surveillance which I have. Plus there are certain practical surveillance, I would say, imperatives. For me, I need that critical information exactly at the time when I want it. There was a time, or let's say there is still a time, when for an operation I would do some patrolling, use the traditional means of acquiring information, gather it together, have the time, take the decision, and then again to mobilize, to maneuver, to reach my combat power to the point of decision and apply it. It used to take a longer time. Now, the information which I want is available, let's say, instantly or almost in real time. Similarly, the ability to apply this combat power may not take too long. Even that can be applied, almost in real time. So therefore, it is in a much shorter time frame that I have to take my decisions and I have to operate, and therefore the soldier has to define exactly what information he wants in a very early time frame. Plus, he has to operate a huge number of means of surveillance. It was very easy. I would say it required different skills to go out and get that information, whatever I was required to. It could take a certain amount of time. Now, that time is not available. I need the instant information, and for that, this soldier needs to reskill. See, these are the kind of gadgets he would be operating. And there is bound to be a sense of, there is a need of reskilling him. And there is a method in this. And it has to be done in real time. In the battle, he doesn't have the time to re-understand a gadget which he's got in his hand and operate it. He doesn't have those many seconds. So he must know it before it is thrust into his hand. And all these kind of features will be operating in my battle space. And I say this thankfully, it has not yet arrived, it is yet to arrive. We still have the means to design it exactly as I want it, and not necessarily as it is available in the whole world. He has to use this gadget. So I will now go on to absorbing this technology. This technology is coming. It's a reality. And it is necessary. It gives me that cutting edge which I don't have. Instant information, instant ability to deliver. So I'll cover it both from the users as well as the industry perspective. Actually, they are the same. it goes without saying, we are all working at this. You need a simple and intuitive user interface. Same device. We use different languages, we have different ways of handling things. If only it could be made so simple that I can use it. I'll just give a small example of what had happened. When I was quite young, we were driving a scooter, and that scooter had a little problem because the accelerator cable was not connected to the handle. And it takes me back to that. It always needed two people to drive that scooter. One chap sitting behind who had to keep pulling the accelerator, and one chap sitting in front who could do the rest of the handling. So it required two people. And however, so many controls, so many parts are there in this machine which have been simplified that only one man sitting in front can handle the whole machine. In a similar manner, there is a huge amount of complex creatures which are going to be there in the battle space. I wish as a user, I wish as this user whom you see here, that you would make it very simple for me to deliver. And it is possible. We have to use our minds. Having given me a simpler interface, a simpler method to handle, the next thing I believe is very necessary is to give to me a built-in method where I can simulate the use of this instrument or whatever this capability is, so I can use it offline without using the actual equipment, which may be very steep, which may be less available, etc., etc. But it should be built, designed as an issue along with the original equipment, and not retrospectively. It takes so many years to be able to design something, and you make a simulator as you see so many of them today, but by then the original equipment is graduated to another level. We are still behind. And a lot of emulators which are required and which are more easy in the digital kind of battle space. So all these would help me. But as a soldier and a commander, I also need to know how to exploit this equipment to make the best of it, to apply it best in a battle situation. So I need a war game where I can actually have a contested application of all these gadgetry in a real-time battle space. So I'll get to feel how it is, what kind of information I can get, in what kind of time frame, how will I react, how will the enemy react. So all this can only be possible not on ground, because all of them are not, everybody is not operating on that ground. They could be operating in a kind of digital war game space. I come to the next point of an integrated training node. Today also we have a large variety of equipment which are not very easy to operate. All those in uniform would understand the simple, rudimentary battlefield surveillance radar. We are yet to see the exploitation of this gadget because it has got certain incongruencies which I am not able to handle. And there is a large many of these. If all the equipment which I am going to handle be put in a kind of repository, in a kind of well-coordinated training area where everything can be utilized the way it is meant to be. And I'm asking not the user but the industry to facilitate this, because they will be the ones who can design it like that. They can integrate all these various gadgets. So we need a training node to be able to absorb this whole technology. This is what it used to be, a planning board. It has transformed for me as a commander or as a user into this. I should still be able to be on top of these events if I am trained and if I have the facilities available. Certain issues related to this, EMIDMC, very rudimentary issue, cyber, which has already been brought out, I must understand the implication of cyber, wherever it is applicable, almost universally. There is a certain complexity of frontline soldiering which I would just like to bring out, that the moment as a soldier I need to be alert to the ground. As a soldier, I mean as a commander also, equally. I need to be very alert to the ground and to be able to react. The moment I am in front of a screen, there's a little sense of diversion from the reality. The longer I have to spend on the screen and the more complex it is, the more colored it is, or the more dominating it is, the more distraction or disorientation takes place. So the soldier has to use both of them with equal dexterity. Another part is the physical and the information load. I want only that much information which is required for my operation. And the physical load, each item, as I have seen so many of these future infantry soldier systems, they're all increasing in the quantum of load which I am getting. Lastly is the power source. I'd like to mention that in an infantry battalion today, if the kind of future infantry soldier and all the systems do come into being, and all the gadgets that I've got at least 10,000 batteries which are being used at one time, and they are rechargeables. So these 10,000 batteries have to move back. I don't have 220 volts. Anywhere in my infantry battlefield, I don't have 220 volts. So all these rechargeable batteries have to move back to some place, have to be supplied to some other place. I'll need about maybe 3 to 4 sets of them. If I'm in a mountain which is about 4 to 6 days away from the nearest road head. So it becomes it's a design issue. And the industry has to be able to give to me an equipment that can work on a dry battery just as well, not just a rechargeable power source. I think this goes without saying. I've covered most of these. Whenever any equipment is delivered, it should give to me a basic learning package built in. It should be part of it. I should be able to practice it whenever I want. Routine refresher training, advanced training in the sense the one wants to exploit it. I have to use it, somebody else has to exploit the capabilities. And also a package which can help me in technical training, in the maintenance training, and subsequently in upgrade training. I have to understand it to that depth. So it must be built in as part of the equipment. These are the concluding remarks. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Amul.